Assalamu alaikum. This is Pratusha Burwal welcoming you all to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Advisory Council approves ordinance on disappearances and hours and proposal to establish embassy in Switzerland's Bern. Charges framed against Sheikh Hasina and 12 others in disappearance and torture case. Chief Advisor Professor Mahmoud Yunus calls for calm and offer prayers as Usman Hadi's condition critical. Khalida Zia can receive treatment as her physical condition stable, says Dr. A.Z.M. Zahid Hussain. "458,000 expatriates and government employees registered to vote by post, says Election Commission. Children face vision problem due to use of digital screens of mobile phones and tabs, opine experts. Humanitarian crisis in Gaza deepens due to winter storm, warns United Nations. And Bangladesh beat Sri Lanka by 39 runs in Under-19 Asia Cup in Dubai. Viewers, those were the headlines, so moving on to the details. The government today approved the drafts of Enforced Disappearance Prevention and Redress Amendment Ordinance 2025 and Bangladesh Hour and Wetland Conservation Ordinance 2025 and a proposal to establish a new embassy in Bern, Switzerland. The Chief Advisor's press wing this afternoon said, "The Advisory Council today gave the approval at its weekly meeting at the Chief Advisor's office in the capital with Chief Advisor Professor Mahmoud Yunus in the chair. The Council approved the Enforced Disappearance Prevention and Redress Amendment Ordinance 2025 with a provision that if a disappeared person remains missing for at least 5 years and does not return alive, the tribunal will be able to officially declare the person as disappeared. Under the ordinance, the government will be able to appoint the required number of public prosecutors for the Enforced Disappearance Prevention and Redress Tribunal based on recommendations from the National Human Rights Commission. The Council of Advisors also gave approval to the draft of the Bangladesh Hour and Wetland Conservation Ordinance 2025, specifying the responsibilities, authority and jurisdiction of the Bangladesh Hour and Wetland Development Department. The ordinance specifies prohibited activities in Hour and wetland areas, declares such prohibited activities as offences if committed and provides for penalties for those offences. The Council of Advisors approved a proposal to establish a new Bangladesh embassy in Bern, the capital of Switzerland. The International Crimes Tribunal 2 has taken of charges and issued arrest warrants against 7 individuals, including Ubaidul Qadir, AFM Bahuddin Nasim, Muhammad Ali Arafat, Sheikh Fazle Shams Farosh, Moinul Hussain Khan Nikhil, Saddam Hussain and Sheikh Wali Asif Inan on charges of crimes against humanity committed during the July mass uprising. The 3-member judicial panel of Tribunal 2, led by Justice Nojrul Islam Chaudhry, passed the order today. The next hearing of the case has been scheduled for December 29. During the hearing, the prosecution presented the background of allegations of murder, conspiracy and torture against the accused for suppressing the student public movement during the July mass uprising. Later, Chief Prosecutor Tajul Islam briefed journalists, stating that the accused directly led the planning, issuing instructions and executions of the crackdown on the student public movement during the July uprising. Meanwhile, the Tribunal 1 has ordered the commencement of trial after framing charges against former and current 11 army officers, including Sheikh Hasina and Tariq Ahmed Siddiq, on allegations of enforced disappearance and torture of 26 individuals at a joint interrogation cell. The three-member judicial panel of Tribunal 1, led by Justice Ghulam Murtuza Mojumdar, issued the order today. In this case, the tribunal has fixed January 19 for opening statements and the start of witness testimony. Additionally, at the same tribunal, arguments were presented on the second day in the case concerning the killing of 6 people, including student owners at Shankarpur in the capital. Today, defense lawyers presented their arguments. Earlier on December 14, the prosecution completed its arguments before the tribunal. Following this, the prosecution will present rebuttal arguments. Once this stage is completed, the case will move toward a verdict. There is a possibility that arguments from both sides will be conducted within this month. On the same day, Tribunal 2 recorded the second day of testimony on the 25th witness in the case concerning the killing of Abu Said, a student of Begum Rokeya University in Rangpur and first martyr of the July movement. Singapore's Foreign Minister Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan visited Sharif Osman Hadi, a fearless forefront fighter of the July uprising and spokesperson of Inqilab Moncho, who is undergoing treatment at a hospital in Singapore. According to a statement issued by the Chief Advisor's press wing, Dr. Vivian phoned Chief Advisor Professor Mahmood Yunus and informed him about Hadi's medical activities. He said Hadi's condition is very critical. Chief Advisor urged the countrymen to remain calm and requested them to pray for Hadi. BNP chairperson and former Prime Minister Begum Khalida Zia's personal physician and BNP Standing Committee member Dr. A.Z.M. Zahid Hussain has said Begum Zia's physical condition is stable. He said this while briefing journalists in front of the main gate of the Evercare Hospital in the city today. Regarding Khalida Zia's ongoing treatment, Dr. Zahid noted that she is properly receiving the treatment being administered according to the advice of the physicians. Dr. Zahid informed that Begum Khalida Zia has been undergoing treatment at the hospital since November 23 and she is in the critical care unit since November 27. A medical board consisting of local and foreign doctors has been reformed for her treatment. The board is comprised of physicians from Bangladesh, UK, USA and Australia, he said. Dr. Zahid added that the medical board conducts her health check every morning. Furthermore, due to time differences, a joint meeting of the multidisciplinary medical team is held with the foreign physicians every evening and her treatment is managed accordingly. Expressing hope for recovery, Dr. Zahid said, physicians are very optimistic. Deshnetri Begum Khalida Zia would gradually recover, they hoped. He also mentioned that the party's acting chairman Tariq Rahman and his wife Dr. Zubaida Rahman are constantly supervising Begum Khalida Zia's treatment. Dr. Zahid also requested everyone to cooperate in maintaining the hospital environment. He stated that the Evercare Hospital is open to all. Many other patients are also receiving treatment there. According to information obtained from the postal voting update published on the Election Commission's website as of 11:30 a.m. today, a total of 485,184 voters have registered via the Postal Vote BD app to exercise their voting rights in the 13th National Parliamentary Election and the referendum. Along with expatriate Bangladeshis from different countries around the world, Government employees engaged in election duties and those staying outside their own constituencies are also registering through the Postal Vote BD app. Among them, 4,55,545 are male voters and 29,637 are female voters. Among expatriates, the highest number of registrations has come from Saudi Arabia with 1,22,401 voters. In addition, 44,543 voters have registered from Qatar, 32,741 from Oman, 31,497 from Malaysia, 24,286 from the United Arab Emirates, 23,032 from the United States, 17,078 from the United Kingdom, 16,857 from Singapore, 16,109 from Kuwait, 12,915 from Italy, and 10,821 from Canada. On the other hand, as of today, 52,994 Bangladeshi voters currently residing in the country have registered under the in-country postal voting category through the Postal Vote BD app. The date, February 12, 2026, has become a major topic of discussion in the country's political arena and public life. The 13th National Parliamentary election is not only about forming a new government, at the same time an important referendum is also being organized. Alongside students and the general public, the expectations of laborers and working class people who played an active role on the streets during the mass movement of 24 have taken on a new dimension around this election. Participation in running the state through the exercise of voting rights is the core strength of democracy. However, ordinary people were deprived of this right for the past 17 years. Laborers and working class people say they took the streets during the mass movement of 24 demanding rights and dignity. Many believe that holding a referendum alongside the parliamentary election will further expand opportunities to express public opinion. Others, however, are voicing caution, emphasizing the need to ensure that the referendum truly reflects the will of the people. The expectations of working class people is that the election will lead to a formation of a national parliament where issues related to their lives and livelihoods receive due importance. Fair wages, safe working conditions, and social protection have emerged as their top priorities. A child named Saim has been wearing colored frame glasses since he was 4 years old. While teaching her son, his mother realized that his son was facing blurry vision. Since then, he has been following the doctor's advice. Childhood of thousands of children like Saim has been stuck in glass frames. Doctors say the use of digital screens has increased the problem of myopia or nearsightedness in children several times in the last decade. Not only the genetic factors but also our changing lifestyle is responsible for this. Watching cartoons and games on smartphones or tablets for a long time is tiring the eye muscles. Daylight releases dopamine in the retina of the eye, which keeps the eye shape correct, but the problem is increasing day by day as children are deprived of that natural light in the city's four-walled life. According to experts, parents should let their children play in the sun for at least 2 hours a day and ensure that their eyes rest every 20 minutes. They suggest taking the advice of a specialist as soon as the initial signs of vision loss appear, and to be careful about children's use of digital screens to keep them away from vision-related diseases. Now, international news. Winter storms are worsening conditions for hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians in Gaza. Aid agencies warn that Israeli restrictions are preventing life-saving shelter assistance from reaching people across the besieged enclave. The United Nations has said it has tents, blankets, and other essential supplies ready to enter Gaza, but that Israeli authorities continue to block or restrict access through border crossings. A spokesperson for UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said, "The storms had damaged or destroyed shelters and personal belongings across the territory." Farhan Haq said the disruption has affected approximately 30,000 children across Gaza. He said, "Urgent repairs are needed to ensure these activities can resume without delay." Meanwhile, Qatar's Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani has warned that daily Israeli breaches of the Gaza ceasefire are threatening the entire agreement. He called for urgent progress towards the next phase of the deal to end Israel's genocidal war on the besieged Palestinian enclave. The Qatari Prime Minister made the appeal following talks with United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington. He stressed that delays and ceasefire violations endanger the entire process and place mediators in a difficult position. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said Moscow will achieve its objectives and rejected war with the West as the European Union. During a high-level meeting on Wednesday with Ministry of Defense officials, Putin was quoted by state media as describing calls in the West to prepare for war with Russia as hysteria and a lie. However, he emphasized that the Kremlin's war goals will undoubtedly be achieved. The Russian president repeated Moscow prefers to deal with what it calls the root causes of the conflict through diplomacy, but remains prepared to achieve the liberation of its historical lands by military means if the West refuses substantial talks. Meanwhile, European Union leaders have gathered in Brussels to hold a vote on whether they are able to use nearly $20 billion in frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine over the next 2 years. Back to national news. Secretary of the Ministry of Social Welfare Dr. Mohammad Abu Yusuf visited the government Shishu Poribar and Chotomoni Nivash institutions that cater to children with intellectual disabilities at Roofbad in the city. The secretary inspected various activities of the institutions and reviewed a government project underway for the construction of a new building dedicated to the children. Officials from the divisional and district social service offices were present on the occasion. Chattogram Metropolitan Police Commissioner Hasim Aziz exchanged views with journalists working in various media outlets in Chattogram today, held at the Chattogram Press Club. Chattogram Press Club's President Zahidul Korim Kochi presided over, among others, the editor of the daily Azadi newspaper M.A. Malik, the acting general secretary of the press club Mia Muhammad Arif, journalist leader Osman Kuni Mansoor, along with other senior journalists and high-ranking police officials were present. The CMP commissioner urged journalists to practice objective and factual journalism. Highlighting the significant challenges posed by the upcoming election, Hasim Aziz said, "The election presents many challenges. The cohorts of the ousted autocrats and foreign masters are attempting to sabotage the election and turn Bangladesh into a failed state. This conspiracy must be thwarted," he added.